Hi guys, I promised the bread recipe and so I'm going to do it today. We'll see what happens. I've never done something like this before, so I'm kind of excited. All right, so the bread recipe, that was a crusty French bread that I made the other day. And so here we go. The first part, we're going to get the yeast to proof. So I'm going to put in 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast to my mixing bowl. You do not need to do this in a stand mixer like I'm doing. I just happen to have one and I love it, so I'm going to use it. 2 1/4 teaspoons active dry yeast. I think that's the same amount as one of those little packages. 1 teaspoon of organic raw sugar. You could use honey if you want. It's really just to feed the yeast. And 2 1/4 cups of warm water. I'm going to use tap water because my tap water gets pretty warm. One 1/4 cups of warm water. I'm just going to give it a little stir to help dissolve the sugar. And then we're just going to let it sit for about 5 minutes or so, just till it starts to foam up so that the yeast starts to proof. All right, I'll see you in 5. Okay, the 5 minutes is up, and can you see that? It's like fluffy and yeasty and a little bit foamy. So now I'm going to add the flour and the salt. That's it. That's the only ingredients. It's 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt and 2 to 2 1/2 cups of flour. I'm going to just add a little bit here, and then I'm going to add the rest a little at a time, because this dough needs to be what they say in the baking circles, a slack dough, so it's kind of wet and sticky. So it's going to take a lot more than what I put in. But I'm going to add it a little at a time. The recipe calls for 2 1/2 to 3 1/2 cups of flour. I'm starting off with 2 1/2. Mostly because I didn't weigh it, and weighing is always a better way to go, but hey, I didn't weigh. Hey. I've actually only just started using this dough hook on my mixer recently. I'm so used to doing everything by hand, but I guess I tend to do that. Technology's great when it works, though. And of all the kitchen gadgets I've purchased over the years, this is one of my favorites. Actually, I didn't purchase it. Andy got it for me. It was a present. That and my, this and my, what do you call it? My Vitamix, my high-speed blender. Oh my God. Almost lost my spatula. Okay, that's 2.5 cups. I'm gonna let that do its thing for a few more minutes. And once I've incorporated all of the flour that I'm going to use today, I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so I want to show you guys what this looks like and just show you how sticky this dough is. It's really sticky. And I added another cup of flour to this because I know what's coming next, more flour. So but that's kind of what you want. You want that sticky dough. More flour is going to get added to it in the kneading process. I mean, in the whole process, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm gonna get this dough off to the side of the bowl. Sure hope this is the way I did it last time. Ha. Anyway, so now I'm gonna flour the inside of the bowl, and then I'm going to just take the other side and just sort of pull it away from the bowl onto the flour that I put into the bottom of the bowl. This is just, I'm not going to work that flour in. I just want the dough to not stick to the bowl, and I don't want to grease the bowl. This is a no oil bread recipe, which makes me happy. Okay, so I'm not gonna play with it anymore. This has gotta go. This is just it. It's been floured. It's been rolled in the flour so that it's floured on the bottom and on the sides. And we're gonna let it hang out. It's gonna rise now for about an hour, I guess. I'm gonna cover it. Recipes tend to say cover with a towel. I'm going to cover it with plastic because I like the way it keeps the heat in and some of the moisture. So trying to get this off my hands so I can pause the camera. Okay, we're back. It's been about an hour. And while I was passing the time, I took the dogs for a walk, and I watched an episode of Randy Rainbow, who I love. I had to take the dogs for a walk separately because they don't do well together. Lily gets too excited. Okay, so here's my dough. It didn't actually double in bulk. It should have. It did the last time I made this recipe. I'm guessing that maybe the reason is because it's not quite as warm in here today as it was when I made it the last time. I don't have any of my wood stoves going because it's so nice out. But we're going to move on to the next phase and see what happens, because that's what I would do if I were home without you guys watching. Speaking of you guys, I forgot to mention at the beginning that I'm making this video because of my friend Ulla Sorland. She had seen a picture of the last loaf I made, and was asking if I would please give her the recipe and the method. So here we are. So you can thank Ulla. So I'm just getting a little flour on the board, and I'm going to turn the dough out. I want it to fall out by itself, if possible. It's a little sticky. I'm just going to get in there and gently tap it away from the edge of the bowl. You have to be patient when you're baking bread. This is actually a really good day for me to do this because I don't have any other classes to teach today. I'm all done with that for today. So I don't have to stress out about whether or not it's going to be done in time. And you know, because once you start the process, I guess you could refrigerate it, I suppose. I don't know about this one. Maybe other bread doughs you could. I love to cook, but I'm not an expert, just an old hand. All right, so I have a feeling this isn't going to come out as great as the last loaf I made because it is super sticky and it didn't rise like the last one I made. Now, we want it to be sticky, and we don't punch it down because we want to try to keep as much air inside in the bread as possible. But I do have to shape it, so I'm just going to fold a little bit here and then in that way. Gently turn it and fold it again and gently turn it, and I'm going to fold it one last time, and then I'm going to roll it onto the seam and just kind of tuck it in around the edges, catching some of that flour. The only reason I'm catching the flour is to keep it from sticking to the bowl. I'm not trying to put more flour into the dough even if it is sticky. So now I'm going to flour the bowl again. And I'm going to gently lift this up, put it back into the bowl, and let it sit for another 30 minutes while the oven heats up. Then I'm preheating the oven to 460 degrees with my Dutch oven in the oven and with the lid on it. It's a very hot oven, and that's the method. That's the way we do it. All right, I'm going to cover this up, give it 30 minutes to rest, and maybe it'll rise a little bit more. Let's hope it does. I hope this comes out good because, like it or not, we're eating it for dinner tonight. All right, see you in 30. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes. The oven's nice and hot. It did rise a little bit more. I'm glad. Now, I am going to get out a good sized piece of parchment paper. And the little teeth on my roll here are a little dull, so bear with me while I convince that parchment paper that that was a good idea. All right, so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to get my pot out of the oven. It's been heating up in there with the lid on for the last half an hour. So the pot is super hot, so I don't forget, because I do forget, and I have burned myself many times over the years. Let's leave that right there. So now I'm going to try to get this dough onto the parchment paper as close to the center as possible, and when it comes out, it should land with the seam side up. Oh, it feels like it's sticking. Oop, there we go. Okay, so you can see that it's got that where the seam was. I'm just gonna, no, I'm not gonna do that. I know I'll mess it up if I do. Because you don't want to handle it too much. I'm going to take, wow, can you see the steam coming out of that? That is a good thing. And it's one of the reasons why we want this dough to be on the wet side. Because it's going to go right into the hot pan carefully. Yikes. You do not want to touch the side of the pan. Very hot. I think I'm going to leave that. I was going to cut it off. I don't know. Will I react better to it if I cut it or if I don't? I think I will trim it. I'm just trying to trim this back a little bit. This is a very, very hot. Okay, that's good enough. I'm going to put the lid back on. Okay, I couldn't get all the paper inside, but I'm not going to worry about that. Back into the oven it goes for the first bake. So it's going to bake with the lid on for 10 to 15 minutes? No. Another 30 minutes with the lid on. So I'm going to set the timer because that's smart. Smart to set the timer. All right, be back in 30. Okay, we're back. So before I take that out of the oven and show you what it looks like, you see that mark on my table here, my cutting board? That's how hot the pot was when I took it out of the oven. It actually burned my cutting board. Not that I care because this cutting board is old and, you know, full of all kinds of little nicks and crannies. All right, I am taking it out of the oven. I have to stand back, otherwise my glasses will steam up and I won't be able to see a thing. Yeah, I don't think I want to burn it again. So, the first unveiling, I'm going to take the lid off. Wow. Wow, look at that. It's beautiful. We did it again. But now it's got to go back in the oven with the cover off for another 10 minutes or so. So, I'm going to do that. But it's pretty, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. 10 minutes more. I gotta tell you kids, it smells really good in here. 10 minutes. And the final unveiling in 10. Okay. Yes, I hear you, oven. Time to take the bread out for the final reveal. Well, I think it came out pretty good. Yes, it looks lovely. Carefully taking it out. Place it on the rack. Get the pot out of the way. What do you think, kids? Think we can eat it? Now, a lot of bread makers insist that you have a sharp, like a razor blade, to score the bread to make it split like that and to create that rustic French peasant bread look. But as you can see, if you just turn it upside down and so the seam side is to the top, you've already got that. So if you don't have that kind of skill or that equipment, then, you know, just do it this way. It came out great, and it's too hot to cut right now. So I'm gonna make you wait a little while just so you can see how the crumb is, and I'm not gonna cut it in half. Yeah, no, I'm too selfish for that. But I will cut it in a little bit, and I will just cut one end so you can see what it looks like on the inside. And so that I can give it the taste test. All right, we'll be back. It's gotta cool for 30 minutes. You don't wanna sit here looking at this for 30 minutes, do you? I don't either. All right, my dears, it's test time. Okay, it's still warm. I couldn't wait anymore. So here we go. I hope you can hear the crunch that this bread has when I cut it. So it's still warm. And it's got some nice air bubbles. And it sounds crunchy. And it smells amazing. And I'm going to taste it with a little bit of, I'm not going to put butter on it because I'm trying to stay away from dairy. But this is a cashew cheese that I had made the other day. It was supposed to come out like mozzarella, but obviously it didn't. It actually came out more like a spreadable cheese, and it's really delicious. So that's what I use it for, a spread cheese instead of what it was intended for. Oh my God. This is really good. I hope you make it. Let me know if you do and if you like it. This is really good. It's gonna go really good with our dinner tonight. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Ulla, I hope you make this, and I hope you talk to me about it afterwards, because this is yummy. Love you guys.